Hey guys, this is Monica at Academic Phoenix Plus, and today is going to be the day that we finish the Tangled vines. We've already created the leaves. Next is going to be to wrap up this project. So again, don't forget that you can download this at academicphoenixplus.com. You can always sign up for my newsletter while you're here and get a free Maya shortcut cheat sheet. And under downloads, you will find the images. So click on here. I know it says 99 cents, but there is a free coupon for 100% off coupon code for free Tangled Vines. If you can afford $1, you can share it with me. That'd be amazing. If not, no worries. I understand that there's a lot of students out there and and education's very expensive and we have all types of expenses. So if you can't do that, don't forget you can always subscribe to my channel. You can also sign up for my newsletter. You can share my channel or share my videos with your friends, 3D artists, social media. Any of that would be amazing. So thank you again for listening, and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, if I grab these flowers, hopefully they don't have that same issue, which they do. So I'm gonna have to do the same thing for that. Create a cube. Maybe I can do them all at once. I'm gonna just test this out and see if this works. Mesh, combine, mesh, separate. Modify center pivot. And it looks like that worked. GG, which is last command. Okay, great. Do it fast. Okay, let's go ahead and start placing the little flowers. Let's take a look at it now, what it looks like. So that means that when I combined it and separated, it turned into different new pieces of geometry. So let's get rid of the opaque, the opacity. Let's find out if that worked. Yep, there you go. It's a little bit more complicated than I thought, but we troubleshooted, which is awesome. It's half of the game is to try to figure out how to use the tool. So let's keep duplicating, scaling it, rotating it, try to make it look a little bit different. After a while, you probably want to duplicate a chunk of them and just start placing them around. So the more you group together, you can grab a chunk of them, duplicate, and move around. Might want to move them in. Let's put 6 here. And 1, there you go. It's a little easier to control. You can select a chunk of them and rotate them. And they, because they have different pivot points and things like that, it's going to be a little easier. So let's take a look at that. It's starting to look like a vine. That's what we're going for. All right, I'm going to take a chunk, but make sure you deselect the vines. Duplicate, and I'm just going to start moving them around, rotating. This is kind of like a fast way of doing things. I'm not saying this is the right way. I'm just saying it's the fast way. And duplicate again. I can always move them. I'm just trying to place them right now. And then after that, I can just start working on placing them. All right, so I'm just going to take a couple of minutes to place the leaves. Let's see what it looks like now. These yellow flowers are too repeating, so let me grab that one. Kind of delete a couple. Again, you want to make sure that you rotate them, scale, maybe skew them a little bit, and place them somewhere. Duplicate these guys and just kind of, just give it a little bit of a diverse look. Oops, where'd it go? There it is. Okay, let's render that out, see how that looks like. All right, let's work. So you can see that it needs a little bit more work when it comes to depth and specularity and stuff. So let's fix the spec a little bit. Let's grab our plant here. Let's open up our leaf, and the specular's a little strong, so let's reduce the weight. I'm going to increase the roughness. And I also am going to give it a little bit of color when it comes to green, just a tiny bit. This is going to help make it look a little bit less waxy and a little bit more realistic. I'm going to also add texture to that. So let's assign a new material. This is going to be for the vine itself. So let's add some color. Again, I'm going to decrease the weight, increase the roughness, and select a color. Probably want to go for something a little bit more. And also let's pick a color like the vine. There you go. Probably a little darker and maybe a little not so noticeable. It's a little bit of clipping here and there, which I'm going to try to avoid as much as I can. It's going to be a little hard because the little guys are everywhere. Probably want to go smaller for the leaves up at the top. Maybe a little bigger for the ones at the bottom. Let's grab a couple of these tiny little leaves. Duplicate them and moving over here. Start building this section over here. Make that tiny little flower here. Let's straighten this one out a little bit just because I'm a little worried that it's way too obvious that it's like a flat surface. All right, it's coming along. Let's add a wall. Oh, that's right. I put it in on here. Okay, so same story. UV planar map options. This time it's going to be in the Z, right? Because it's facing this way. Project. Object mode. Great. Let's go ahead and assign a texture to it. Right click, assign new material. AI Arnold. Standard. This is going to be like a wall / fence. Let's grab the file, and I have it in my images. Grab that guy. Okay. Doesn't have any bump map, so we'll see how that looks like. Theoretically a repeating texture, so let's go over here. Let's go to our placement node and let's increase our, oops, it's not very repeating. You can already tell there's a line, so that lied to me. Okay, we'll just, maybe it's repeating on one side, not the other. All right, so we have so far this. Let's work a little bit on our lighting. Again, don't forget to save. So I'd like to use the Arnold Lights Sky Dome, and I also like to attach a map to it. I already have an HDRI map. You can just grab that as well. It's called Panorama Map. And let's see what that looks like. Sometimes it gets a little weird. Okay, that's not too bad. All right, let's stop that. And I'm going to create a plane just so it has some sort of surface. So that looks a little crazy. I'm going to press escape. Grab this. We're going to go to our image and we're going to call it raw. So look for raw. Cool. Now we have a little bit more photorealistic lighting. You can see that there's areas of improvement, such as we can definitely add a couple more flowers, definitely more vines, maybe change the scale of, there's some floating leaves that need to be tweaked a little bit. Like this one, I'm going to scale it down. Just going to move it to cover some of these mistakes. That one needs to be brought down. The other ones look okay. This one looks kind of lonely. Let's grab this one. Probably grab this one too. All right, we still have some wandering leaves that need a little home, but the more leaves you have, the less you have to worry about it because it's already so cluttered. Like for example, down here. So what I can do is just grab these guys and kind of fill in the space a little bit more. Just because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, I'm gonna try to get this to not clip so much. There we go. And face the camera a little bit more so that it's not looking so flat. And let's fix the specularity. It's a little bright, so again, let's increase the roughness. I like to add a tiny little bit of color to it just so that if the light hits it, it's gonna look nice. I'm going to decrease the weight of my spec because I don't need it so much. This is a good place to stop, but if I was going to keep going with this, the next steps would be to, add bump map. I'm going to go ahead and render this, make this into higher HD. Well, I hope that was helpful. That was a tutorial on how to create vines. We went over extruding using a curve, and we also went over alpha maps. Now, of course, when I render it out, I can see a bunch of mistakes, but if you take a look at it further back, it's not going to be so bad. So let me render this out. It's in 1080, so that's going to take a couple of minutes. So in the meanwhile, let me just talk about, I hope you learned something from this. I think you can do a lot with alphas as well as extruding with a curve. The quality of some of the maps can definitely be a lot stronger, especially in the background and the floor and the fence. But as you can see, you can get some really nice results. So again, you can go to academicphoenixplus.com and download the files. You will have all the images that you need to follow along. We basically started from scratch, so just follow along and you should be able to create a cool looking vine as well. Remember to sign up for my newsletter. You will get pre-release content. You will also get information about future workshops and other really neat things, and of course free models. All right, not too bad. Thank you so much for listening. I truly appreciate it, and I will see you next time.